All right, ready to dive deep. Today it's all about habits, the ones that stick. We're cracking open Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Ooh, excellent choice.
It's not just a bestseller, it's like a guidebook, right? For understanding how these tiny changes can snowball into massive results.
It really is. And I think what makes Atomic Habits so unique, so engaging, is that it's not just theory.
Right.
He brings in real stories and science and practical steps you can actually take.
Perfect for our deep dive then.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start with James Clear himself. His story is, well, it's kind of wild. Picture this. High school athlete, at bat, ready to crush it. And bam, rogue baseball bat to the face. Changes everything.
Yeah, near fatal accident, broken bones, vision problems, even seizures. He couldn't even drive for 8 months.
Wow. You'd think that'd be the end of any athletic dreams, right?
Absolutely.
But here's where the whole Atomic Habits philosophy comes in. Clear used this as a springboard
Yeah.
to explore the very habits that helped him rebuild his life. And we're not talking overnight miracle. This was years of dedicated effort.
Step by step, bit by bit.
And the results? Well, he becomes a top athlete in college, even earns a spot on the ESPN Academic All-America team. So inspiring.
It really is. His journey embodies this idea that even small changes, applied consistently, can lead to remarkable results.
It's like that story Keir uses in the book about the British cycling team. They were, I don't know, kind of mediocre, really struggling to even get sponsors. Then their new coach, Sir Dave Brailsford, comes in with this radical marginal gain strategy.
Fascinating, right? Instead of those huge leaps, they focused on tiny improvements.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, think adjusting rider position, testing different tire pressures, even like using specific hand wash to minimize illness.
Wow. Tiny tweaks. Atomic Habits.
Exactly.
And they end up dominating the Olympics, smashing records left and right.
The Tour de France, too.
It really makes you think, what seemingly insignificant things are holding us back?
Right.
What could we be achieving if we paid attention to those tiny details?
It's a great point, and it leads perfectly into one of the most important things. Clear talks about the difference between goals and systems.
Okay, break that down for us.
So we tend to fixate on goals. But Clear argues that a system for continuous improvement is actually far more powerful.
Makes sense.
Think about it. Two people can have the same goal, but only one achieves it. Doesn't mean the other person lacked ambition.
Right.
Or sometimes we hit a goal and it's like, anticlimactic. Or we hit the goal and fall back into old habits. It's that yo-yo effect. Clear's point is, systems keep you in the game, always striving, always improving.
Like building a machine that consistently produces results, not just one-off wins. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we build these systems? Enter Clear's 4 laws of behavior change. It's like a set of tools to hack your habits. I love how he lays it out.
Me too. So the first law, make it obvious. Our brains pick up on cues even when we're not aware of it. Clear starts this chapter with a story about a paramedic. She could instantly tell her father-in-law was seriously ill just by observing tiny little cues.
It's like our subconscious is always scanning the environment, picking up on those signals.
Yeah. So to tap into that, Clear talks about this habit scorecard, basically a self-audit of your daily behaviors.
Become a detective of your own routine.
Exactly. Noticing all those autopilot actions, good or bad. Because once you see them,
You can decide if they're actually serving you.
right. Clear even talks about this fascinating method used by Japanese train conductors. Pointing and calling.
Pointing and calling.
Yeah, they literally point and call out tasks, even simple ones, reduced errors by a whopping 85%. Imagine that.
Reaching for that third cookie. Halt, danger. Okay, maybe that's a bit much.
Maybe.
But you get the idea.
Absolutely. So the second law is make it attractive. We all know dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, plays a role in habit formation. But Clear shows how we can hack that system, so to speak. Make those good habits irresistible.
I like it. So how do we do that?
Well, he uses this great example of ABC's TGIT marketing campaign. They bundled popcorn, wine, and must-see TV. Made Thursday nights on ABC an event.
Clever.
Right. Linking something people need to do, like watch their shows, with something they already love.
And it's not just individual rewards, is it?
No, Claire talks about the social aspect, too. How we're influenced by the habits of those around us.
Peer pressure.
Kinda, but more like social momentum. He talks about the close family and friends, the many, your tribe, your community, and the powerful, those with status.
So if you want to start running, join a running club.
Exactly.
If you're trying to eat healthier, surround yourself with people who value good nutrition.
Makes sense.
Okay, on to law number 3. Make it easy.
This is where things get really practical.
Less talk, more action.
Exactly. The idea is to minimize friction, make good habits as effortless as possible.
I like that. So how do we reduce that friction?
Well, Clear tells this story about a photography professor. Divided his class into 2 groups. One graded on quantity, the other on quality.
Interesting. So you'd think the quality group would produce the best work.
Right, you would. But it was the opposite. The students who focused on churning out as many photos as possible, they ended up with the most impressive results.
Repetition beats perfection.
Exactly. It highlights this key principle. Taking action, even imperfect action, is better than overthinking or waiting for the ideal plan. Just start.
And this leads to Clear's famous 2-minute rule. Breaking down a new habit into something tiny takes less than 2 minutes to start.
Right. Instead of go for a run, it's put on your running shoes.
Instead of clean the whole house, it's clear off the kitchen counter.
Exactly. You're removing that initial hurdle, that feeling of, ugh, I don't have time for this.
Because once you start, the momentum often takes over.
Right. And environment design plays a huge role here too, making it convenient to do the right thing, inconvenient to do the wrong thing.
So if you want to eat more fruit, keep a bowl of it on the counter. If you want to read more, make sure there's a book on your bedside table.
Yeah.
You're basically becoming the architect of your own behavior.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered making habits obvious, attractive, and easy. Now for the final law. Make it satisfying.
Yes. Our brains prioritize immediate rewards over delayed gratification.
Right. So how do we combat that? Good habits often have delayed benefits.
It's a challenge. Clear's answer is to find ways to make those good habits satisfying in the moment. Think about the instant gratification of eating junk food versus the delayed gratification of a healthy diet.
Yeah, big difference.
To even the score, Clear suggests tools like a habit tracker to visualize your progress,
Right.
or a reward jar where you deposit money for each successful day.
Oh, I like that.
But those rewards should align with your overall goals. If you're trying to save money, don't reward yourself with a shopping spree, right? That makes sense. It's about finding those rewards that reinforce your desired identity, moving you closer to the person you want to become.
So these 4 laws provide a fantastic framework for habit change. But Clear doesn't stop there. He goes on to explore more advanced tactics for mastering those habits.
Right, how to take this from good to truly great. One of the first things Clear dives into in this advanced tactics section is this question of talent versus hard work. Are we destined by our genes, or can we actually shape our own outcomes?
That nature versus nurture debate, it's a classic.
It really is. And Clear doesn't dismiss talent, but he makes a strong case for finding the right fit for your natural abilities.
Like playing to your strengths.
Exactly. He uses these great examples, Michael Phelps and Hicham El Guerrouj.
Okay, remind me.
2 Olympic champions, both incredibly successful, but with vastly different physiques. Phelps, long torso, short legs built for swimming. El Guerrouj, shorter, more compact, excelled in running.
And didn't he say they wear the same size pants?
He does. It's amazing, right? Highlights how different body types can find success in different fields.
So find what works for you.
Exactly. Identify your strengths, those things that come naturally. Success is easier when you're playing a game that favors your inherent abilities.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we figure that out? How do we know where our natural talents lie?
Well, Clear suggests exploring activities that make you lose track of time. The things you find intrinsically rewarding. It's like those moments when you're in flow.
In the zone.
Exactly, that can point you in the right direction.
So it's not about eliminating effort. It's about clarifying where to focus it.
Right. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about staying motivated for the long haul.
Okay, because it's one thing to start a habit. It's another to keep going when that initial enthusiasm fades.
Absolutely. We've all been there. Clear shares this inspiring story of Steve Martin, his journey to comedic success, 18 years.
Wow, 18 years. That's commitment.
Talk about persistence. And Clear suggests that one key to long-term motivation is working on challenges that are just the right level of difficulty. He calls it the Goldilocks rule.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Not too easy, not too hard, but just right. Too easy, we get bored. Too hard, we get discouraged.
Finding that sweet spot is key.
It is. Think about learning a new language. Starting with a complex novel is probably going to lead to frustration, but simple phrases gradually increasing in complexity, those keep you engaged, keep you making progress.
It's like those small, consistent steps we keep talking about. those atomic habits building on each other over time.
Exactly. And speaking of time, Clear also digs into this concept of non-linear result.
Non-linear result.
Yeah, it's a really important idea because it explains why we don't always see immediate progress with our habits.
So we put in the work, but don't see the payoff right away.
Yeah.
Easy to get discouraged.
Right. He uses the analogy of an ice cube melting. You apply heat for a while and seemingly nothing's happening.
But then suddenly it melts.
Exactly. Habit change can be like that. Those initial efforts, they're laying the groundwork.
For that breakthrough moment.
Yeah. It's a reminder to trust the process, be patient, keep going.
Okay, I'm ready to trust the process. What else does Clear have for us?
Let's revisit environment design. We've touched on it before, but it's so crucial. Clear dedicates a whole chapter to it.
Because our surroundings have a bigger impact than we realize, right?
Absolutely. Our environment isn't just a backdrop. It shapes our behaviors. We're bombarded with cues that influence our choices.
Like those tempting displays at the grocery store, the strategically placed ads online.
Exactly. It's like our environment is having a conversation with our subconscious.
And we're not always aware of it.
Right. But the good news is we have more control over this conversation than we think. We can design our environment
to work for us, not against us.
Exactly. So some strategies Clear suggests make those cues obvious, healthy snacks visible, workout clothes front and center.
Make it easy to grab and go.
Right. Then remove those temptations. No junk food in the pantry, log out of those social media accounts.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And lastly, prime your environment for success. Prep those meals for the week. Set up a dedicated workspace.
Okay, I'm starting to see a theme here. Make it easy. Remove obstacles.
It's all about making those good choices the path of least resistance.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the physical environment, but what about technology? It's a powerful tool, but it can be a double-edged sword, right?
Absolutely. On the one hand, it can help us automate those good behaviors.
Like setting up those automatic savings plans or using fitness trackers.
Right. But on the flip side, it can be incredibly addictive and distracting.
Hello, social media rabbit hole.
Exactly. So, Clear advocates for using technology strategically.
Harness the benefits, minimize the downsides.
Exactly. He suggests a few things. First, use technology to automate those good habits. Set up automatic bill pay, schedule recurring reminders for important tasks, maybe use grocery delivery services.
Make it easy.
Right. Then use technology to make those bad habits harder to do. Block those distracting websites, uninstall tempting apps.
Okay, any other tips for navigating the digital world?
Perhaps the most important one is to just be mindful of your tech consumption. Pay attention to how much time you're spending on different platforms, how you feel before and after using certain technologies.
Be intentional about it.
Exactly. It's about using technology as a tool to support your goals, not as a master that dictates your behavior.
I like that. Taking back control. Okay, now let's talk about maintaining motivation over the long term.
Yes. The long game. Because it's one thing to start a new habit, but it's another thing entirely to stick with it when the initial excitement fades.
We all hit those plateaus, those moments of doubt, those days when we just don't feel like it.
Absolutely. And Clear offers some fantastic strategies for riding out those waves and keeping the momentum going.
Okay, give us the playbook. How do we stay on track?
One of the most important is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. When we're fixated on that end goal, it's easy to get discouraged if we don't see those immediate results. But if we shift our attention to those daily actions, those small wins along the way, it's so much easier to stay motivated.
It's all about the journey, not just the destination.
Precisely. And celebrating those small wins is key. Acknowledge those efforts, no matter how small they may seem.
Got to give ourselves credit.
Absolutely. Another key strategy is to surround yourself with supportive people. Those people we spend our time with, they have a huge impact on our behaviors and our beliefs. Clear talks about finding your tribe.
The people who get you.
Right. The people who share your values and aspirations. It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, rooting for your success and helping you stay accountable.
Okay, speaking of accountability, Clear has a whole chapter dedicated to it, right?
It does. And it's such a simple but powerful principle. When we know we have to answer to someone else, we're more likely to follow through with those commitments.
Okay, I can see that. So what are some practical ways to build in accountability?
Clear suggests a few things. You can find an accountability partner, someone who checks in with you regularly, supports your goals, and offers encouragement. It's like having a personal coach for your habits.
I like that. Someone to keep you on track.
Exactly. Another option is joining a group or community. That shared sense of purpose, knowing that others are working towards similar goals, it can be really motivating.
Like we're all in this together.
Right. And for those who thrive on a bit more pressure, Clear suggests making your commitments public.
Like announcing it to the world.
Exactly. Share your goals with friends and family, post about them on social media, join a challenge or a competition. The key is to find a level of accountability that feels comfortable and motivating for you.
Makes sense. Find what works. Okay, what else does Clear have up his sleeve?
Let's talk about building a system for habit change. Clear actually argues that a system is even more important than a goal.
Okay, I'm listening. Explain that one.
So goals provide a destination, right? But a system is the roadmap that gets us there.
I see. So it's the how, not just the what.
Exactly. It's about developing those routines and habits and processes that support our desired behaviors. Clear suggests breaking down our goals into smaller, more manageable steps, and then creating a system that makes those steps automatic.
Okay, walk me through an example.
Sure. Let's say your goal is to write a book. Don't just focus on that end product. Think about the system that will help you get there. What time of day will you write? Where will you write? How many words will you aim for each day? What will you do if you hit writer's block? By developing a system that addresses those practical considerations, you make the process of writing more manageable and you increase your chances of success.
I'm getting a much clearer picture now. So it's about creating those structures and routines that make it easier to stick to our goals.
Exactly. And Clear encourages us to think of our systems as an ongoing experiment. Don't be afraid to try different approaches, tweak and adjust as needed. The goal is to find a system that works for you.
That makes sense. It's not one size fits all.
Right. Now, remember that concept of nonlinear results we talked about earlier?
The ice cube analogy.
Exactly. That's a crucial concept to remember when we're building systems, because progress isn't always immediate or consistent. We might put in a lot of effort up front and not see much change, and then suddenly we experience a breakthrough.
Like we hit a tipping point.
Right. It's a reminder to trust the process, be patient, keep going, even when we don't see those immediate results.
Okay, I'm definitely getting the message about patience.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we do to help ourselves on this habit-building journey?
Well, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for habit change, environment design. We've talked about this throughout our conversation, but it's so important that it deserves a deeper dive.
Agreed. Our surroundings have such a huge impact on us.
They really do. Clear argues that our environment isn't just a backdrop. It's a powerful force that shapes our behaviors. We're constantly bombarded with cues that trigger certain actions and influence our choices.
Like those tempting displays at the checkout counter.
Exactly. Or those strategically placed ads online. Our environments are often designed to nudge us towards certain behaviors, whether they're in our best interest or not.
So how do we combat that?
Well, here's the good news. We have more control over our environment than we realize. We can actively shape our surroundings to make those good habits easier and those bad habits harder.
Okay, I'm ready to take control. Give me the action plan.
Clear suggests several strategies. First, make those cues for good habits obvious.
Like we talked about earlier.
Right. Keep healthy snacks visible. Put your workout clothes where you can't miss them. Place a book you want to read on your bedside table. Make it easy to grab and go.
Make it easy. Got it.
Another strategy is removing temptations. Get rid of junk food in your pantry, log out of those tempting social media accounts, or use website blockers to stay focused during work hours.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. You can also prime your environment for success. Prep your meals for the week, set up a dedicated workspace, lay out your workout clothes the night before.
Love that. Setting yourself up for success.
Right. And lastly, he talks about creating separate spaces for different activities, especially helpful for those who work from home. Having distinct areas for work, relaxation, and exercise helps create those mental boundaries.
Okay, that makes sense. I can definitely see how that would improve focus and productivity. It's amazing how such simple changes to our surroundings can have such a big impact on our behavior.
It really is. Now let's switch gears and talk about technology. It's a powerful tool, but it can be a double-edged sword when it comes to habit change.
Absolutely. It can help us or hurt us, depending on how we use it.
Right. On the one hand, it can help us automate good habits and make bad habits harder to access.
Like those fitness trackers we talked about, or those automatic savings plans.
Exactly. But on the other hand, it can also be incredibly addictive and distracting. Constant notifications, endless stream of content, social media.ai can be a real struggle.
The struggle is real.
It is. So Clear's advice is to use technology strategically.
Leverage its strengths, minimize the downsides.
Exactly. And he offers a few key strategies to help us do that.
Okay, I'm ready to take notes.
First, use technology to automate those good habits. Set up automatic bill pay, schedule recurring reminders for important tasks, or maybe use those grocery delivery services to make healthy eating more convenient.
I love it. Make technology work for us.
Right. You can also use technology to make bad habits harder. Block distracting websites during work hours, uninstall those tempting apps from your phone, or use a timer to limit your screen time.
Practical tips. I like it. Any other advice for navigating the digital world?
The most important one is to just be mindful of your technology consumption. Pay attention to how much time you're spending on different platforms. Notice how you feel before and after using certain technologies.
Be intentional about it.
Exactly. It's all about using technology as a tool to support your goals, not as a master that dictates your behavior.
Okay, I'm feeling empowered to take back control. Now let's talk about maintaining motivation over the long term.
The marathon, not the sprint. It's one thing to start a new habit, but it's another thing entirely to stick with it when that initial excitement fades.
Right. We all hit those plateaus, those moments of doubt, those days when we just don't feel like it.
Absolutely. Clear offers several strategies for riding out those waves and keeping the momentum going.
Okay, give us the playbook.
One of the most important things is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. When we're fixated on that end goal, it's easy to get discouraged if we don't see immediate results. But when we shift our attention to those daily actions, those small wins along the way, it becomes so much easier to stay motivated, even when progress is slow.
It's about enjoying the journey, not just the destination.
Precisely. And celebrating those small wins is crucial. Acknowledge those efforts no matter how small they seem.
I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in what we haven't accomplished yet and forget to appreciate how far we've come.
It really is. Another key strategy is surrounding yourself with supportive people. The people we spend time with, they have such a huge impact on our behaviors and beliefs. Clear talks about finding your tribe.
Those kindred spirits.
Exactly. Those who share your values and aspirations. It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, rooting for your success, helping you stay accountable.
Okay, and speaking of accountability, didn't Clear dedicate an entire chapter to its power?
He did, and it's a simple concept, but so powerful. When we know we have to answer to someone else, we're more likely to follow through with those commitments.
I can see that. So what are some ways to create that accountability?
Clear suggests a few things. You can find an accountability partner, someone who checked in with you regularly, supports your goals, provides encouragement.
Like a cheerleader and a coach rolled into one.
Exactly. You could also join a group or a community. That sense of shared purpose, knowing others are working towards similar goals, it can be really motivating.
The power of community.
Right. And for those who thrive on a bit more pressure, Clear suggests making those commitments public.
Announcing it to the world.
Exactly. Share your goals with friends and family, post about them on social media, join a challenge, a competition.
I get it. Find the level of accountability that works for you.
Exactly. No one-size-fits-all approach. Now, let's shift gears and talk about one of the most powerful ideas in the book. Identity-based habits.
Identity-based habits. Okay, break that down for me.
Clears argues that our habits are actually a reflection of our identity, the person we believe we are.
Wow. So it's not just about changing our actions, it's about changing how we see ourselves.
Exactly. It's a profound shift in perspective. Instead of focusing solely on changing our behaviors, we need to start examining the beliefs and values that shape those behaviors.
So our habits are a reflection of our inner world.
Precisely. Our actions become votes for the type of person we want to become. If we consistently choose healthy foods, we're casting votes for the identity of a healthy person. If we exercise regularly, we're reinforcing the identity of a fit and active person. And on the flip side, if we engage in negative self-talk or procrastinate on those important tasks, we're reinforcing a less desirable identity.
So we're constantly shaping our identity, whether we realize it or not.
That's right. And Clear emphasizes that lasting change often starts with a shift in our self-image. It's about asking ourselves, who is the type of person who achieves the things I want to achieve? And then we align our habits with that desired identity.
So it's not about trying to become someone we're not. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, self-image isn't fixed. It's something we can shape and mold through our actions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all ties together. Our habits, our identity, the person we're becoming.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected.
It really is. So if you want to change your life, start by changing your habits. And if you want to change your habits, start by changing your beliefs about yourself.
That's powerful. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the what and the how of habit change, but what about the why,
The motivation, the driving force behind it all.
right? What keeps us going when things get tough?
Well, Clear reminds us that this isn't just about checking things off a to-do list. It's about becoming the architect of our lives.
Designing a life we love?
Exactly. He talks about how our habits are like compound interest for self-improvement. Those tiny changes, those 1% improvements we talked about earlier, they accumulate over time and create incredible results.
Just like the British cycling team and their pursuit of marginal gains.
Precisely. It shows that seemingly small changes, when applied consistently, can lead to those remarkable outcomes. And it's not just about external achievements, it's about that feeling of mastery over your own life, of becoming more disciplined, more resilient, more capable.
It's about building a life you're proud of, a life that reflects your values, your aspirations.
Exactly.
So where do we go from here? How do we actually put all this into practice?
Well, Clear ends the book with a powerful question. He asks, what's the smallest thing you can do today to get 1% better?
It's about those tiny actions, those atomic habits.
Exactly. Because those seemingly insignificant choices, compounded over time, they can lead to remarkable transformations. It's about building momentum, one small win at a time.
And it's not just about reaching a specific destination.
Right. It's about becoming the type of person who lives in alignment with your values, who strives for continuous improvement.
So it's a journey, not just a destination.
Precisely. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent.
Progress over perfection.
Exactly. So what's one tiny change you can make today that could ripple out and create positive change in your life?
What small step can you take towards becoming the person you want to be? What habit will you start building today?
Remember, those atomic habits, they really can shape your destiny.
Start small, stay consistent, and see what happens. You might just surprise yourself.
And that wraps up our deep dive into atomic habits.
We hope this has given you some actionable tools and a fresh perspective on the power of habits.
Remember, building better habits isn't just about achieving specific outcomes. It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
So keep those small changes coming and let the power of atomic habits transform your life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.